Hey everybody, welcome back to Everyday Journey. This is Project Determination video number 5, and we're going to put the tarp on the garden. I already started off doing something wrong. As you can see here, I've got the 55-gallon drum, filling it full of water. I'm going to use this to roll over the garden to try to knock down all these high weeds and things like that. Didn't want them to be, I didn't want to mow them because I figured if I did, they'd be sticking up and it'd just be a stem that's sticking up at the height that the mower cut it, and that would cause it to pierce through the plastic. So I figured using this here, it would go over and either bend them down or it would break them down at the base, so that wouldn't be an issue. I just use my mower here because it's a 55-gallon drum just full of water. Weighs a little more than what I want to be pushing around here. So I just use the mower to push it around. And it seems to work pretty good. It's a little hard to control. It keeps going one way or the other, but for the most part, I mean, I got the job done. And after I was done, I went ahead and did my second problem here, which was draining the water so they wouldn't freeze, because we've been having lots of freezing weather here. And so I go drain the water out of this. And of course, this is just uphill of where I'm putting this plastic. And of course, I'm having to walk through the whole time through that little bit of water that's pulled up and made mud, and it just goes right through my shoes. And I could have put my boots on, but it was a nice day and I didn't want to wear the boots, so I just did it that way and ended up with wet feet. Let me tell you about this tarp that I got from Farmer's Friend. Here I'm opening it up, and I was really worried about this. It came in the mail, and it had a place that was kind of torn a little bit on it from whenever they shipped it, and so I thought that was going to be a problem, but I wasn't going to ship it back. I wasn't going to complain about it, but I didn't need to use it yet, so I wasn't going to tear it open. So I just put it right here by my garden, and it's been there ever since. And so here I'm just tearing it open, and I'm really surprised. They put a nice, well, they wrapped the ends with this plastic, this clear shrink wrap, or I guess we call it shrink wrap. And I don't know exactly why they did that, but it did work for what it needed to do. It's just a little bit more to throw away afterwards. And then I go in here and start cutting the plastic wrapping off of it, which I thought was actually some of the tarp. And as I did, I noticed that it was actually just the wrapping. So I pulled that off, and inside there even was a little bit of bubble wrap too. So they did protect this. I didn't see any problem with the damage. So whatever damage I got in shipping was just with the outside protective cover. So once it's done, I just got to roll it out. And here I'm rolling it by hand. I'm rolling it backwards because I don't want to be showing you guys, if my pants are coming down. But honestly, the way I do it in later part of the video is I just start kicking it, and it works better. So just walk behind and just kick it to unroll it and keep going as I go. The only problem I did see with it is when this unrolls, it actually unrolls with if you were to open it the way it is, because it's got the split, it's folded from both sides and it comes to the middle. And if you were to open it the way that is, it'd have the white side showing up. So the first thing I did here was just go through and start flipping it over. And that way as I pulled it out, it would stretch out with the plastic, the black part of it, pointing up. That's just the way I want it to be. So I flipped it over, and then I start stretching it out. And this thing is long. This is big. This is I think it's the 24 by 105, I think is their measurements. It's big. It's really long. Luckily, if this was not a day if this was a day where it was windy at all, there's no way I'd be able to do this. So putting it out the way it was, I could stretch it out, put a sandbag on it, and then stretch that out even further against the weight of the sandbag, and it made it easy to do. They say that this should be done with about 2 people, but I think, honestly, you can see right here, this is one person doing it. It can be done. You just have to pick the right day to do it. Well, you can see right here, after it's stretched out, there's places that are sticking up. Using the water barrel didn't work all that well. You see there's several different places here. And I tried pulling up some of the ones that were sticking up as I rolled this out, and then I have to flip it open here and reach under here and try to pull these out, but it wasn't working. I did see a few places where it did protrude or pierce the plastic, and I said, nah, this ain't gonna work. So I went ahead and pulled it back, got half of it pulled back over the other, and went ahead and started mowing it. I think I mowed this at 4 inches, and I mowed it 4 inches going one direction, and then I would always mow back over that same place I just mowed, so that I was really mowing it both directions. So just in case it kind of pushed it down instead of mowing it, I would come back the other way and it would get it. But after I got done with that, then I turned around and dropped it down to 3 inches and went ahead and mowed crisscross the other direction and did the same thing. Every place that I mowed over it twice. So one going one direction, one going the other. So really and truly every spot should have gotten mowed over 4 different directions. Once I got done with that, I just had to pull this tarp back over the other part and then do the exact same thing with the part that I hadn't gotten to. And of course I'm going much wider than where the tarp is because I have 2 of these. I actually want to get a total area whenever I'm done of about 50 by 100. It's not really that bad mowing it like that, but the part that really is bad is you end up getting all this stuff that's, there was a lot of stuff there that it was mowing through. Trying to get it to where it doesn't clog up the mower and everything else. You want to make sure it's spread out well. That's the hard part. So even after I mowed it the first time and I had to go back over the second time, it was starting to clog things up. You just can't evenly disperse it everywhere, and since it's so much, it's difficult to do. So I think they claim anyway, it was a long time ago that I read it, but I think they say that it would need a sandbag about every 5 feet. And here you can see I'm probably somewhere a little more than 5 feet. I knew I only had 75 bags to work with, and I have 2 tarps to put down, so I was kind of spacing them out a little bit. I will tell you though that after this was done, because this is not perfectly level ground, that when it started raining, the rain came down and puddled up on this, and that was helping hold it down even better. So I do have to deal with that later and actually level things out, at least per bed, and that way I don't have a problem with drainage. But for now, I'm not really worried about it. So here you can see I'm actually going through and reusing the sandbags for one side of this and kind of like sewing this or zippering this together. As I'm going down through there, I'm using the same sandbag to hold down both tarps. And it works pretty well. And eventually, if this starts to blow up at all, I'm going to go and do more sandbags. I need to anyway because I want to use them for things like cat tunnels or what do they call it? I think things like insect netting and stuff like that. May need to hold down that stuff, so I need more sandbags. But here you go. You can see it's a pretty good sized tarped area. One more attempt to kill down the seed bank. All right, you can see that wasn't really all that hard. Anybody should be able to do it. Those full rolls like that, I think those probably weighed, well, let's say 30 pounds, maybe 30 to 40 pounds a piece. They're pretty heavy, but they're not that bad. You can maneuver them fairly easy. The day I did this was January 15th. Temp outside was 35, so we got a little bit above freezing. And now it's later, just finishing up the video, trying to get it out to you guys. I think right now is the 24th. We have had nothing but freezing temperatures. I think yesterday was the first time it got above freezing. Today it's getting closer to 40, I think. So yeah, it's crazy. I haven't done much outside at all except for just take care of the animals. Did bring my battery out here since it's supposed to be warming up, and sure enough, I've got 13.2 volts. So little by little, this thing's going to charge. Those solar panels I got, they don't do that much, so it will charge it. It's just going to take a long time. Anyway, as far as the tarps go, I would recommend go ahead and mowing. I wouldn't try to do it the way I did to begin with. It was just a waste of time, waste of energy, but it was a good thought. And it may have helped, I don't know, because if it did break off a lot of those at the base, then it made it to where whenever I went to mow it, that it didn't actually, it just shredded up everything that was broken down and didn't leave something sticking up to poke through. And I did notice that I don't see anything that's really poking through. Doesn't mean it won't, but it could. So the other thing is maybe to go out there and do it a few times. If you were going to do it, do it way ahead of time. Mow it, mow it, mow it. That way you never have anything that's like big, thick stalks like what I had sticking up, because those are just going to cause problems with the plastic. Like I said, January 15th I started this, and now it's the 24th. I'm probably going to pull it off somewhere around, I don't know, somewhere around February 1st. At least look at it and see how things are progressing. And like I said, if I have to, maybe water it, but hopefully I can do it with the rain instead, so I don't have to actually water it. And I don't know, that's hopefully it does really well. The only thing I could think of is I do need either more of it, or I need to take one of these tarps and actually cut it down into probably 50-foot strips, and something that will be I don't know, maybe somewhere around 5 to 10, maybe just cut it in half each way. So I end up with, because it's 24, if I cut that in half, I'm going to end up with 12, 2 12s, and then make it 50 foot long. So then in the end, I'll have 4 12-foot things, and I could be able to put that over any bed that's 50 foot, or actually I guess 2 beds that are 50 foot long, because I'll really need it for that later. The big one, that's nice, it works for a large area, but it's not really convenient for once you have the beds already laid out. It just works well for now. So next thing I actually want to try to get some lettuce going. You'll see in my next video about what I was doing to try to do that, which I've already kind of started that, and I'm gonna hopefully go ahead and do that in the next couple of days now that it's warmer, a little bit warmer. See if I can't get that going. So that's all I got for now. If you guys got any questions about anything, leave it in the comments. Love to read them and respond to them. And hit that bell notification, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And until next time, y'all take care.